Hello and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for September 27th, 2022. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and alongside me, as always, is Coach Dunn. And Coach, a great Tuesday morning, beautiful weather. It's been beautiful the past couple days, and as both you and I were talking about, kind of a laid-back day today. There's no internet on campus, so I guess this is it for the day. We just go home.
This is it. Now we got a little thing called practice this afternoon and meetings. We'll adjust and go old school. If we have no internet, we'll figure out something.
Okay, I wanted to make sure the players knew that because in this day and age, there's no internet. The world shuts down. But just a little fun today. You come in, you never know what's going to happen on campus. But this past weekend on campus, you guys finally had a home football game on a Saturday. It seems like it's been about 10 years since that first opening game. So it had been great not having to worry about leaving on a Friday, getting buses, getting hotel, figure out walkthrough, just sleep in your own bed and wake up Saturday on just a gorgeous fall afternoon for football.
Yeah, it was great to be home. You know, our guys love playing at home, and after 2 long weeks and 2 long road trips, it was good to be home. I thought we had a great week of practice. I thought the guys were dialed in all week. I thought our preparation was really good, and I think it showed on Saturday.
And one of the things, you know, in sports after a loss, you know, all the pundits are like, how is the team going to come out? I tell you what, I knew from the first second you guys were out there for pregame warm-ups that your team was locked in.
Yeah, I felt like, you know, the 2 previous weeks, we had a lot of mistakes that we got corrected, that it wasn't anything that it was just mistakes, and, you know, coaching included. So, you know, I thought our guys, like I said, were dialed in all week on the right thing, on the process, on playing the next play, and don't worry about what happened the play before. And I think it showed Saturday. The guys were ready to play. They were excited to play at home, and you know, we got out to a fast start.
And you talk about that fast start, the running game, that first quarter, the entire game, the running game was on point, but it seemed like there was the first long touchdown run, and it was almost like a runaway train off the tracks from there on out.
Yeah, you know, I'm really, even the previous 2 weeks, I thought our run game was getting better, and there were some things that we had to clean up. We adjusted some alignments, we adjusted some techniques, but, you know, we felt like we were there the whole time, and you know, it was great to see the running game kind of take off. If we're going to be the team we want to be, we've got to be able to do both. We've got to have a balanced offense, and that doesn't mean we're going to run it as much as we throw it. That means we've got to be able to do both when the time is right. And Edinburgh was giving us some boxes to run to, and we took advantage of it. And I thought we did a really good job up front. I thought our backs did a really good job of pressing blocks. Thought the tight ends did well, and the quarterback put us in some good situations to run the football. So, you know, it was good to see that facet of the game kind of get moving a little bit.
One of the things with the running game, I mean, as a former offensive lineman yourself, you had to love the fact that, I mean, on some of the replays we were seeing, your line was getting down and getting that second, third level, blocking downfield and getting for big chunk plays.
Yeah, those guys are working. Our new offensive line coach, Coach McLean, is really good, really detailed, and really tough on those guys. And it's good for them to put the work in and then see some success off it. So, you know, to be able to run the ball, I think we ran for close to 350 yards. You know, that's a testament to the offensive line and the work that they're putting in, but also the running backs, you know, of pressing blocks and doing it the right way.
And also finding the holes, because, I mean, it doesn't do you any good if the line's doing their job if the running backs aren't reading the blocks. But it seemed like, you know, one step, they're through a whole 6-7 yards.
Yeah, you know, and then we finally got, you know, we thought we've been really close all year to breaking some long runs. And, you know, we were getting 4, getting 5, getting 6, and then finally we broke some. But, yeah, just a good job all around. You know, the quarterback putting us in situations. I thought Coach Salisbury did a really good job of leaning on the run game. You know, we want to be a balanced offense, and we want to be able to do both on our terms, and I thought we did that on Saturday.
Well, and one of the things that the run game being effective opens up is the play-action pass, and there are a couple. I mean, the one touchdown was just an amazing play-action pass. It was our camera operator's like, I missed that. I'm like, well, that's good probably because, you know, it's designed to be missed, but it was just a great play for another touchdown. And like you said, Noah did a great job distributing the ball.
Yeah, Noah didn't have a huge day, but he didn't have to. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, he made a couple really big throws, knowing that he was going to get hit. We ran a play-action pass, might be the one you're talking about, for a big post, I think, on the first or second drive of the game, and Eric Willis went up and made a catch. Noah knew he was going to get hit, delivered the football on a 50-yard strike, and Eric went up and made a play on the ball. And then there was another play down in the red zone on an RPO that Noah knew he was going to get hit, but delivered it to Cam Tarrant for a touchdown. So, you know, we didn't have the biggest day throwing the football, but but we didn't need to. And that's going to help us down the road because now folks are going to have to defend both. If you want to crowd the box, we're going to try and throw it. If you want to play too high and play coverage, then we've got to be able to run the ball. And we kind of saw that all day Saturday.
And the other thing we saw all day Saturday was another dominant performance by the defense. And the defense really kind of put the stamp on the game. The middle of the second half or second quarter, scores 14-7. Edinburgh gets an onside kick, but then defense makes a splash play, pick six, and it wasn't the knockout blow, but it was the standing gate.
Yeah, that was a big play. We go down and we're up 14-7, or 14-0. They go down and score, and then get an onside kick on us. And it was a great call, executed perfectly. Their special teams, their head coach does a really, really good job with their special teams. They kind of give you fits in special teams. The way they do their punt, their kickoff return is really good. Their punt return is really good. Their punt game, their punter had a great day. So they do a really good job in special teams. And Coach Knopf kind of runs that bunch. So we knew there would be something. They faked field goals this year. They've done some different things, and give them credit. They made the right call. So now it's 14-7. They get an onside kick. They got all the momentum in the world. But I thought our defense played better with our eyes. Our defensive coordinator and our defensive staff have really been preaching it's about us and where we put our eyes and getting to the proper spot. And that's a great example of it. Noah Dilla does the right thing. And we tell our guys, if you do the right thing, opportunity is going to come to you. He made a great play on the ball, and Josh Miller threw a great block down the sideline. Next thing you know, we're up 21-7. And all the momentum is back on our side. So that was a huge play in that game.
And I was going to say, you can tell that, how well the team is coached, because as soon as that ball was taken by Dillo, your entire defense was looking to throw blocks and get down the field. And, about 50-yard line, it was just so exciting to see the entire sideline get up and realize this is going to be a big play.
Yeah, that's one of the things our guys preach is we want to create turnovers, and we call it the main thing, and we do a circuit every day before practice on the main thing. But one of the big things is, anytime we get an interception, we want to block the intended receiver. And that's usually who makes the tackle on an interception, is the guy that they were throwing to. So our guys know as soon as we get an interception, the first guy we got to block is the intended receiver. We got to block on him. The second block we got was on the quarterback, and then Noah did a great job of finishing the play. But really happy to see those guys kind of escorting him into the end zone for a huge play in that game.
And that made the score 21-7, and the final score is 49-7. But Coach, I want to go back. You talked a little bit about the special teams at Edinburgh, but I thought the punter was very good, pinning you guys back all day. But I thought your special teams did a great job, because a lot of times, if you're fielding punts inside the 20, 15, 10 all day, something's going to happen. Something's going to break. But, your team did a good job fielding, maintaining possession, and then offensively, a couple long drives.
Yeah, we've got some things to clean up on special teams, and we met yesterday and worked on some things. Monday's a big special teams practice day for us, so we went through all of our segments yesterday and making some personnel switches. We've got to get better. I wasn't pleased with really our kickoff coverage. I thought we could have done a better job there, but give Edinburgh credit. Like I said, they do really good on special teams. I thought our punt return game was, we fair caught every one of them. We've got to get to the point where we're getting some blocks and being able to get better field position. But on the flip side of that, I thought our punt team did a really good job. Edinburgh has blocked a couple kicks. Edinburgh brings a ton of pressure on when we're punting, and I thought Clayton Rosensteel did a really good job of handling that. I thought that the protection was good for the most part.
And one last thing, Coach, we talked about at the beginning, finally at home, and I tell you what, there's nothing better than a home game at Adamson Stadium. We were setting up, and you guys were warming up. You just look back and see the tailgates and the fans coming in, and it's just a great atmosphere.
Yeah, great atmosphere. In fact, when we had some recruits on campus, so I get up there a little bit late when we play at home because we're down here with recruits, and I stopped by and saw the Brothers of Acacia. I kind of parked right next to them, and they had the cornhole going, and I thanked them for coming. But it is, and I think it means something to our guys when they pull in the parking lot and see all the tailgates. And the other thing is they know they're going to eat well after the game. So after the game, they go out to the tailgate, and all their families are throwing tailgates. It's really special. I think as we come the rest of the season, we've got a couple more home games, and I think we'll have great crowds.
Well, that's the tip after the game. Just stick around and try and find free food. It's the best restaurant in California at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturdays. But enough talking about the game, Coach. Let's look at the highlights from this past Saturday's action against Edinburgh.
Hand off to McCann, and he gets a lane, and he's going to go off to the races as he crosses the 25, 50, 10, 5, touchdown, Vulcans! There's the snap, hand off to McCann once again. Oh no, play fake, and touchdown, Vulcans! It's Cam Tarrant. It's going to make it 13-0. He drops the pass and it's intercepted by Noah Dillon. Oh, he's going to land. He's crossed the 50. He's up 40. He's up 30. Up 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Vulcans! Her handoff to McGriff again. Fakes the throw in. Touchdown, Vulcans. Cam Tarrant with the touchdown. And takes the snap, handoff up the middle to McGriff, to McCann, and he's in for his second touchdown of the day. Man in motion, and they're going to hand it off to McCann again, and he's going to bounce upfield and get knocked right into the end zone for a touchdown. Hands it off to Williams. Williams going to run up the lane, and he's got some blockers, and touchdown Vulcans.
More attractions. More fear. Survive the clowns in Twisted Nightmare 3D. Experience more scares than ever before. Haunted Hills Estate Scream Park returns September 9th. Get your tickets now at hauntedhillsestate.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. Once again, I'm Gary Smith, joined by Coach Dunn. And as we say each week, you can't rest on what happened this past Saturday because the calendar and the week turns. And another conference game this upcoming Saturday at Clarion. And, conference games are a different breed.
Yeah, Clarion's is doing some really good things, but we've always kind of struggled up there. We've always kind of had close games and hard-fought battles with Clarion. They got a new coaching staff, and they're bringing a lot of energy. They got their guys playing extremely hard. I think offensively they're doing a really good job. I want to say, they're averaging 200 yards a game rushing. They've got a little bit different offense than a lot of people that we see. A lot of jet motions, and a lot of fly sweeps, and really just trying to get you out of your assignments, trying to give you what we call a lot of window dressing and movements so that our eyes aren't good. We're going to have to continue to preach being great with our eyes and being great with our responsibilities because it does stretch a defense with as much as they do. And then the quarterback's a really good athlete. They've played a couple quarterbacks. The one they've kind of seemed to settle in on can run the ball as well. So that brings another element. They're averaging, I think, over 350 yards a game offensively. So we're going to have to be on our details for sure. Yeah,
that's one of the things I was going to kind of took the lead right out of my notes right there. But, this summer, that's what a lot of people were talking about, that new offense, because it's not something that you see anymore. A lot of motion was probably something we saw back in the 80s and 90s. So how difficult is that, for you and your coaching staff to preach to the players who may not have seen an offense like that maybe ever in their careers?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why they do it, right, is to be a little bit different than everybody else. And I think that's the great thing about college football. There's so much variety. When you watch the NFL, everybody pretty much does the same thing, right? It's pretty much we're going to line up this way and run this, and they do a great job of it. Where college, you get a ton of different offenses. Edinburgh was a little bit different than the previous teams we play, and then Clarion's totally different. So it's just about us being on our details. We've got to be assignment oriented. We've got to understand that our eyes have to be in the right place, and we can't take the candy that they're putting on that. You've got to do your job, and you've got to rely on the other 10 guys to do their job and be in the right gap and be in the right run fit and be in the right coverage because it is a little bit difficult. But that's why you practice, right? That's why we met yesterday. Felt like we had a great workout last night, and I'm sure we'll add more to it today.
And on the other side of the ball, it seems like Like you said, offenses are different, but it seems like every team in the conference will play a little bit different defense. What does Clarion have on the defensive side?
Yeah, Clarion's a base 4-2 cover 4 team, which is 2 high safeties. Edinboro was probably a little more exotic, or a lot more exotic. Edinboro jumped from an even front, which is a 4-down front, to a 3-man front. Edinboro played some 3 safety packages, which is kind of evolving right now. That kind of Iowa State kind of started that stuff a few years ago, and it's kind of catching on. Clarion's more traditional 4-2, cover 4, cover 2. We'll we'll roll safeties down and play cover 3. We'll play a little bit of man coverage. Haven't shown to be a huge blitz team. They want to try and keep everything in front of them, but they do it well. I think their front 4 is probably, to me, their strength. They got a really good defensive end that comes off the edge there and creates some pass rush. But I tell our guys, it's about us, no matter who we play. If we don't take care of our business, if we don't line up the right way, if we don't have the right assignments, and we don't give great effort, it doesn't matter what a defense is doing. So we preach to our guys, it's alignment, assignment, and great effort. And then things will work out if you follow your rules. So we really got to focus on us.
Now, on the other side, or another thing is, this is a road trip, but it's the shortest road trip you've had. Obviously, the Kutztown and Shepherd game, those are no-brainers. You're staying overnight. With a trip this close, does that change your road prep or your road schedule, I guess, like when you're going up, when you're eating, all that stuff?
Yeah, we try and keep everything consistent as we can, but this one does. We are going to go up the night before, but we're not going to leave here till after dinner. Typically, when we have a long road trip at Kutztown or at Shepherd, then we'll leave sometime in the mid-morning, feed them lunch, and then go have a dinner at the hotel. This week, we're not going to do that. We're going to stay on campus and eat and then leave that evening. The problem with these games that are 2 hours and 20 minutes, where do you feed 80 people? Mm-hmm. Where do you stop and eat in your schedule? Because you've got to get to the stadium so much earlier for a game time. This week at the stadium for a 12 o'clock game, we're at the stadium at 9:40. Mm-hmm. We're 2 hours and 40 minutes before. So when you take that into consideration, and where can you stop on the road and feed 80 people, so we just felt like it gave us a better opportunity to play well. And I appreciate the administration for allowing us to do it.
Well, and also all those logistics, and it's a later start time. It's 2 o'clock, so that kind of adjusts your pregame schedule and everything like that. And so, like I said, it's about 2.5 hours, maybe 2 hours to get to Clarion. So come on up this Saturday, 2 o'clock. But before we pitch that, we got to put the bow on this past week and Coach's favorite time of the show whenever I give scores and graphics and standings. So he's going to check to see if the internet's working on the phone while these graphics are on. So let's take a look at the scores from this past weekend's action. First weekend of PSAC divisional play. Of course, we talked about California and Edinboro 49-7. We'll stay on the west side here. Gannon beating Clarion 47-24 at Clarion. Mercer's traveled to IUP. IUP won 33-16, and then Slippery Rock over Seton Hill 30-2. And it seems like Seton Hill has a safety in every game, based on just what I've seen so far this year. On the eastern side, Millersville loses to Westchester 26-14. Shepherd getting by Kutztown 42-35 in another game that Shepherd, I believe, took the lead with 1:12 left in the game at Kutztown. East Stroudsburg holds serve at home versus Lockhaven 48-7, and then Shippensburg beats Bloomsburg 31-27. Now, if you were looking at my notes, it would look like it was 31-77, so I got to go back to handwriting school a little bit. And let's take a look at this upcoming week's schedule. We talked about California Clarion this weekend at 2 o'clock. Seton Hill travels to Gannon, Slippery Rock travels to IUP, and then Edinboro takes the short trip to Mercyhurst. And on the eastern side, Millersville at Lockhaven, Shepherd at Shippensburg, Kutztown at East Stroudsburg, and Westchester at Bloomsburg. And Coach, we always talk about one game to look at, and I think it's a no-brainer this week in the conference. Other than the Cal game, it's got to be Slippery Rock IUP every year.
Yeah, I agree. Where's that game at?
That game is at IUP.
Yeah, that's obviously the marquee game of the week. I think they're both ranked in the top 25 right now. They're both undefeated, so that's the game of the week.
So come to the Cal game, but keep tabs on everything else. And one last set of graphics, and again, Coach hates these because these are standings, and I put them up because
I thought the internet was down. You got
we did
that this week.
We did them yesterday. You don't have to talk about them. Just
parent ahead, right?
It's nice blue. There's logos on it, but just to see, first week of conference play, 4 teams are 1-0, 4 teams are 0-1, but there's still a lot of football to be played everywhere.
Football. Yeah, and I talked to our guys about really good football teams get better every week and continue to grow every week, and don't get in a rut of this is what we do, this is what we do. Continue to grow. We're going to change our practice schedule up a little bit, and we're preaching to our guys about competing, right? It's all about competing to get better every day, from the starting quarterback to maybe a guy that's redshirting. We've got to compete every day for us to continue to grow.
And for the program, does when you move into divisional play, does that kind of just ramp everybody up, knowing that the first 3 games, non-conference, tough games, whatever, but once that the schedule flips to the divisional games, does that just change things?
Yeah, and I think it's familiarity, right? And I talk about it every year is why I love the PSAC, because it's regional rivalries. You've got a rivalry with every school. Our guys guaranteed went to school with somebody that plays for Clarion. They know each other, So it's when the West comes around, that's the ultimate goal is to play well in the West. So it's easy to get up for these games.
And get up early, get in the road, come on
It is
out
the
to
fall festival up there as well. I guess a lot going on. They got roads closed and parades and big deal.
Funny story, a few years ago when we still had the TV truck, we got up there early and they waved us through. So it went the Grand Marshal of the Autumn Leaf Festival Parade and then the CUTV truck.
There you go.
And then I think we scored 52 points on them. So we'll try and keep everything the same. We'll get in the parade with the SAI Kia Souls. But if you can't make the trip, it's a beautiful drive. Like Coach said, it's the Autumn Leaf Festival. Get yourself a funnel cake or a corn dog, sit in the stands. Get there early because, the visiting stands so far, our road attendance has been great. But if you can't be there, CUTV will have you covered. But 2 o'clock this Saturday, and Coach, good luck, and we'll see you maybe in the funnel cake line, definitely on the sideline, though.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
For Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you next week on The Gary Dunn Show.